Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our NCO webinar. It's 4:30 on Friday, and we are here for our final webinar of the current series. And I couldn't be more delighted to welcome two incredible guests from the Royal Opera House in London. We're joined by the cellist, Hetty Snell. Hi, Hetty.
Hello.
And by the soprano, Ailish Tynan. Hi, Ailish.
Hi.
Great. We're going to have such fun today. These guys are just a hoot. So just to remind you, of course, I can see you all rushing in. There's 82 already, which is brilliant, and climbing. The Q&A button at the bottom is where you ask your questions. So just click on that and type in your questions and send them to us. And there will be the usual polling for you to vote on things so we can find out some incredible secrets that nobody else knows about these amazing people. So, ladies, could you introduce yourselves? I'm going to do a little screen share now, and we are going to, if you could just talk me through, I'm going to ask, who should I ask to go first? I think I might ask Hetty to go first. Tell us a little bit about you, Hetty.
Oh, hey everyone. Great that you're here. Really exciting. So this little picture is very embarrassing, and it's of me and my little sister. We were playing a concert, which we did quite often, to our poor, long-suffering next-door neighbours who probably got about 3 concerts a week. They were thinking, oh god. But yeah, so that was really helpful, just playing to them all the time. So we used to go there often, and then I was in NCO myself for about 3 years, I think, and loved it. It was the best thing ever. I still remember it, even though my memory is awful. I still remember loads about NCO and all the amazing friends that I made. So I grew up in Devon and then went to music college at the Royal Academy of Music, which was awesome. And then I had a little job in Cardiff. So it was a 50% job in Cardiff that I used to commute down from London, or across, I don't know, my geography is awful. And then after that, I was there for 2 years, and then I left and came back to London and freelanced for a bit. So freelancing is when you play with lots of different orchestras and basically have loads of fun all the time. And then my husband, who's a horn player, he got a job in CBSO in Birmingham, and so he went up there, and then a year later I joined them too, which was awesome as well. And so I was there for a couple of years and then got the job at the Opera House about 18 months ago. So I've been there ever since, in some form. At the moment, very much not there, but digitally. And yeah, so this picture was of me. I got the amazing opportunity to perform as a solo cello player at a new ballet choreographed, but not made, by Kathy Marston, who's an incredible choreographer, and it was based around Jacqueline du Pre's life. So there was solo cello, which featured a lot of the music that Jacqueline du Pre was famous for, and that is, so the picture on the, I can't do my lefts and rights, I have to do this thing, so the picture on the left, is of Lauren Cuthbertson, who's an incredible dancer. She's Jacqueline du Pre. And then Daniel Barenboim was played by Matthew Ball. And then the cello was actually played by a person you can see there, Marcelina Sambe. And he had to go like that all the time and pretend to be a cello. But it sounds mad, but it actually worked really well. And it was just the best experience ever. So yeah, really lucky to do that. And this was me in lockdown, looking very sad. Playing with the lovely pianist Kate Shipway, she's a pianist for the Royal Ballet, and she's super lovely. But we had to play this recording remotely to like publicise the cellist, and which is what the ballet was called. And yeah, it was quite stressful, I'm not sure how much of this you've done, recording, playing along with Kate in my ear and trying to be with her and not being able to see her, but yeah, we gave it a go. Anyway, that's my story. Oh no, hang on a minute, we all did a remote recording for Captain Tom's 100th birthday. So during lockdown we've been busy making up lots of different remote recordings from home, so we just plug in, play our part on our own, it's very lonely, and then we send them to some super amazing techno wizard who puts them all together and creates awesome collages with all our faces there and trying to play the right notes at the same time as each other. And yeah, so this is one we did for Captain Tom.
Fantastic, Hetty, thank you so much. Ailish, could you introduce yourself?
Hello everybody, my name's Ailish and I'm Irish originally, but I've been living in London for 20 years. So this is me in my home in Ireland. I'm the little one sitting up in the piano stool. There's my sister Angela making sure I don't fall off. And I think these photos are probably the first and last time I've ever touched the piano. I was a terrible piano student, very naughty. And my mother, I was the youngest of 6 children and we didn't have very much money growing up, but my mother got the money together to send me for piano lessons. And when the time would come for me to have my piano lessons, I would hide in a bush or in a tree or behind a wall or anywhere I could find. And all my brothers and sisters would be out shouting, Ailish, it's time for your piano lesson. And they could never find me because I was very good at hiding. And as a result, my mother used to go for the piano lessons and she is now a much better piano player than I could ever dream of being. I'm definitely a one-finger woman on the piano. Oh, this was when I won the Leader Song Prize at BBC Cardiff Singer of the World. And I'm looking very pleased there because I just won a lot of money in that competition. So that was a great night. And I had a leaky roof. I'd bought my first flat in London and my roof was leaking. And all I could think about was, oh, great, I'm going to be able to get my roof fixed. And the other thing was that I wasn't expecting to win a prize at all. So I was actually shocked when they called out my name because I hadn't made it to the final of the competition, which I assumed that 5 people got to the final. I wasn't one of them. So I assumed that whoever was in the final would win the prize. But it wasn't, it was me. So I'm not wearing like one of my singing dresses or anything. I'm just wearing a little jumper that I happened to have on that day.
Amazing.
Oh, this was great fun. So I've done Hansel and Gretel quite a bit. I've done it at the Royal Opera House. There's me as Gretel. And this particular production is from Welsh National Opera. And this is such great fun because I'm quite short in reality. So I kind of work well as playing the part of a little child. In fact, I'd say most of you, even the 7-year-olds, are probably taller than me.
I've joined in that, Ailish. I always get served the child portions at NCO courses.
Oh, I wish I got served the child portions. I probably wouldn't be so fat as I am. But in Hansel and Gretel, in this scene, you get to eat as much food. It's the scene where the witch cooks all the food to fatten up Hansel and Gretel. So I love that opera because at the end of it, you get to stuff your face with marshmallows and jelly and all sorts of brilliant things. Usually there's a whole table of food laid out. I've eaten most of it by that stage, as you can see.
And what's this?
Oh, this was great fun. This was the nose, Shostakovich's The Nose at Covent Garden. And I've got a big fake nose on, but I've got quite a big nose anyway. So they probably didn't really need to make me a bigger nose that was big. I already look quite good in the part. And I was actually 6 months pregnant there. So I had my little baby Daisy 3 months after that. And she was in underneath that dress somewhere. So my husband's in the orchestra at Covent Garden. He plays the bass trombone. And I was in that particular production. And Daisy was on stage in my belly. So I always say it was the one time the 3 of us have ever been on stage at the Royal Opera House.
Amazing.
Oh, this is I love doing opera and I do a good bit of opera, but I really love recital singing. And both these pictures are from Wigmore Hall in London. And this is my real passion. It's a lot more work than opera and it's terribly badly paid, but it's so rewarding that it's definitely worth the effort. I love it.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Well, that's a great introduction to you all. Thank you so much. So we've got a quick question already. Ailish, how many operas have you sung, do you think? Do you know? Have you counted?
I haven't actually counted, no. But I'd say maybe about 20 or 25.
Wow, that's a lot of operas.
That is how do you remember them? Like, how do you remember the words and everything?
Oh, you have to spend ages remembering the words. And Hansel and Gretel is a divil because actually I've done Hansel and Gretel once in German, then I've done it in one English translation, and then I had to learn another English translation to do it for Scottish opera. So that's really annoying, learning the same music in 3 different languages.
Our first poll has arrived. I hope you can see that. It's about finding out a secret about Ailish. Okay, so Ailish was a brilliant recorder player. She achieved grade 8 distinction aged 11. Is that true or false? Ailish was so bad at the recorder that her teacher asked her to mime in concerts. Is that true or false? Or Ailish was such a flamboyant recorder player that she once had to go to hospital because she pulled a muscle in her neck. Okay, so get voting on all that and we'll find out what that's like. Now, a question perhaps for you, Hetty. Elia wants to know, what's the atmosphere like in the Royal Opera House?
Oh, good question. There is nothing quite like it ever. I think I've been playing at the Opera House since 2012, so that's 8 years ago, can't count. And every single time I walk into the building, you just get a kind of buzz about it. It's just so atmospheric and buzzy and exciting and so much energy. And what is amazing about it there is there's so many different, like, you're part of such a huge team to make these performances. So there's like costumes, wigs, everything, and stage sets and designers, singers and famous people walking around in the canteen, and it's just so buzzing and amazing. I recommend anyone to go and have a little backstage talk, because they do this quite when we're up and running, of course. Yeah, it's amazing. Definitely one to go for.
Great. Thank you, Hetty. So we're going to end the poll now and share the results. So it looks like most people seem to think, 79% of people seem to think that you once had to go to hospital because you pulled in a muscle in your neck playing the recorder.
I hope that's right.
Or 56% don't think that they think that you... Most people think that you weren't a very good recorder player, well, it's kind of equal. Nobody really knows, actually, apart from the fact that we think you did pull a muscle once. So could you tell us the truth, Ailish?
The truth is that when I was at college, I was so bad at the recorder that my professor, who knew I was very good at singing, so he didn't want me to fail the year because he thought we don't want to lose this one from the choir, he said, you just stand at the back of everybody. He put me behind a very tall girl and he said, just move your fingers and pretend you're blowing into the recorder. And he said, I'll pass you. I'm not telling you his name in case he gets the sack, but it was a long time ago. He's probably dead.
Ailish, that's
I'm so old now that anyone who taught me at college is probably long gone.
Ailish, business as usual, moving your fingers about and waving a bit and pretending like you're doing the right thing. That's my go-to.
Oh, it is not. You're the real deal.
Great. So I'm going to ask you now, on the back of that question, if you could give us a little virtual tour of the Opera House through a screen share. So here we go. Ailish, do you want to start us off? Tell us a little bit about the building.
Well, this is the very front of the Opera House. Now, this is where you'll be going in the front door if you've paid lots of money for your tickets. We don't go in that way. We go in another way around the back. But this is the fantastic, once you go in there now, you walk up this big, huge staircase and into this fabulous glass room. And in there, you can have a lovely glass of champagne when you turn 18, provided you bring a lot of money with you. There's where it is. That's like the back of the glass room. And then downstairs, they've built this fabulous new foyer where you can go in and have a coffee and a cake and sit and absorb the atmosphere of the Royal Opera House. But look at that photo. There's no traffic at all. Oh, this is the inside. Now, those seats downstairs, they're the most expensive ones because they're the ones you might be able to see Hetty in. Whereas if you go up, 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 they all get cheaper, cheaper, cheaper. But look at the inside of that now. Isn't that fabulous? But we never get to go there either. Oh, this is my favorite bit. This is the costume department. And I don't think I've ever had a costume quite as elaborate as that, but not far off. And those people work so hard making us all look good in our costumes. And here's the wigs. So I often get to wear wigs. That's great fun. You can get a total remakeover by these brilliant girls. So there's more of the wigs. They just sit on those little heads while you're not wearing them. And then when you come in, they take them off the little heads and plonk them on yours.
Amazing.
Oh, and this is the makeup. That's definitely, they can do amazing things with this makeup. I've been made to look like a wooden doll, and they just do fabulous things. They stick nails on your fingers and everything. Once I had to go to the toilet before the show. They just stuck on my fake nails. And I went to the toilet and then I went to pull up these tights that they put on me. And I realized, oh no, I'm pulling all the nails off, pulling up the tights. So I had to phone. They've got phones in the toilet. It's very posh at the Royal Opera House. I had to phone the dresser to come up and pull my tights up. I was mortified.
Amazing, great. So Hetty, tell us a little about being in the orchestra.
Oh, it is the most amazing place to be, because you can see, especially where the cellos sit. In this photo, the violas are stealing our place, but usually we get to sit along the side and then we can see what's going on in the stage. Usually I'm spending a lot of time just trying to memorize a line and then look up and see what's going on. So it's also what's great about it. You can see the front row of the audience's faces, and that's it. The reactions are priceless. So some people fall asleep, some people are laughing, some people crying. Quite often opera's quite sad. So you'll see a lot of people crying in the front row, which is very sad. And sometimes when there's like fireworks on stage, or like pyrotechnics, I think they call it, you see their faces, like, you know, they jump out of their skins. It's brilliant. It's the best seat of the house, I think. So this is one of our rehearsal rooms where we're quite often rehearsing in massive rooms that has a lot of scenery from some of the sets that they're storing. So I'm not sure what scenery that is from. I've not been there long enough.
No, that doesn't look too exciting.
No,
whatever it is.
but I like this guy, the little owl. Quite like that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what
Was
that's
this the
from.
Harry Potter opera? I don't remember this.
Oh, shut up! I'm on that one. That sounds epic.
I could
Ailish,
maybe
let's
get
do
the part
it.
of Harry Potter.
Oh my god, that'd be awesome. Shotgun Dumbledore. So this is A Winter's Tale. So we do, as well as opera, we do quite a lot of ballet, which is just incredible. They are amazing. So they live on the 5th floor of the Opera House, and they've got this amazing like rehearsal space and studios and physio departments, and this is Swan Lake, and they're just so beautiful and elegant, and you just feel very fatty bum whenever you pass them in the canteen eating some carrots, and I'll be there with my 5 cakes and, I don't know, hot chocolates. So yeah,
it's like we always say, you can fit 15 ballet dancers in a lift and 3 opera singers. By comparison, not at the same time. But the ballet dancers are so nice and friendly. They're like the nicest people you'll ever meet. They're just so lovely. And opera singers, I think, are probably not quite as nice.
Oh, you're all lovely. You're all lovely. But yeah, the ballet dancers are super lovely. So this is one of my colleagues, Luba. She's doing a recital in the foyer. So the Opera House a few years ago got a massive overhaul in the front of house. The backstage still looks awful, but front of house is super lovely and swanky. So they do recitals in the foyer, and lots of like family Sundays, and lots of like really cool events, a little bit different to what's in the main stage. And this is the Limbury Theatre, which is a part of the Opera House, and they do smaller works in there, but sometimes we get to rehearse in there. And that's the NCO logo.
Great. So out of that one, brilliant. Okay, so another question. Hetty, what's the difference between playing in a pit or on a concert platform?
Oh, it's there's actually quite a lot of difference. In a way, I quite like being in a pit because no one can really see you, so you can get away with like maybe wearing stretchy concert clothes instead of like blingy dresses. It's a bit more kind of informal, but you do get sometimes you do get objects from the stage flying over the pit. So I've been hit before by flowers, and sometimes they fall. One of my colleagues got hit by an actual soprano opera singer. Fell off the stage and hit him and smashed his cello. So I think health and safety's had to bit of a. That was Santiago, and he's in the I think, I'm not sure whether he's left now, but the London Philharmonic. He was a cellist there.
Who was the singer?
I'm not sure, but he said I practice the Elgar cello concerto, practice the Dvorak, and I get famous for a soprano falling on me. He made all the papers, I think.
Okay, Hetty, we've got a poll about you. Find out a secret. Hetty once met the Queen and couldn't stop talking. She babbled incoherently, was so scared she couldn't speak at all, or had a mouthful of sandwich that she nearly spat all over her madge. So let's see. Let's see which one of those is actually true in a minute. Okay, where's Ailish gone?
I'm gone. I'm trying to find my Peppa Pig book where she meets the Queen so that like Hetty can point herself out. But I can't find it anywhere. It's my favourite Peppa Pig book as well.
So we've got a question for you, Ailish, from Nina. Who is the most famous person you've ever worked with, would you say?
Well, I was really lucky, Nina, because I got to kind of my very first thing I ever did. I was a young artist at the Royal Opera House, Covent Garden, and I got to meet so many famous people. And I was so new to the opera world. I didn't come from an I didn't come from a musical background at all, and so I saw my first opera when I was 25, so I didn't know who anybody was. So I was meeting famous people every day, and I didn't know who they were. I remember the first time someone said to me, and this is John Tomlinson, who is a very famous opera singer. And I was like, oh, hi, John. Hi, so nice to meet you. And then when they went away, I was like, who's John Tomlinson? But one of my first operas I got to do was with Simon Keenly's side, and everyone thought this was amazing. But because I still didn't know who anyone was, I've got to sing with Carita Matala. I had Carita Matala swing me around like a rag doll on stage one day, totally unexpectedly. The director hadn't told her to do it or anything. And I thought, oh, I'm getting swung around by Carita Matala. This is amazing. So yeah, I've met, now you'll have to help me out here. What's the name of the really famous violinist? He's got MS. He was a friend of Jacqueline Dupre's and Barenboim's.
Oh, yes.
Newcomen.
Is that Carmen? It's
Carmen. I should
He's
know.
in a wheelchair. He's in a wheelchair.
Perlman.
Perlman, yes. Yes, I was conducted by Itzhak Perlman. I think that was actually probably the most famous person I've ever met. I keep thinking, Nina, if I think of anyone else, I tell you. You probably haven't heard of half the people I think are famous. I met the Queen as well as Hetty.
Okay, so here we go, Hetty. It seems to be pretty evenly spread, but just a slight majority in favour of you having a mouthful of sandwich. So tell us the truth.
Well, you are all very clever, because I did indeed have a mouthful of sandwich when the Queen came over to chat to me. I was so hungry after doing this concert, and I saw this plate of yummy looking sandwiches come around. I thought, oh, I've definitely got time for one of these. So took a sandwich, stuffed it in my mouth, all of a sudden there she was. And so I just had to go like that when she was talking to me. It was awful.
Amazing. So what about you, Ailish? When did you meet the Queen?
Oh, I met the Queen. There was a big party in London where she invited all the Irish people from every kind of artistic walk of life at it. And Van Morrison was there, and Mrs. Doyle out of Father Ted. Niall Horan was there. I'm actually from the same town in Mullingar in Ireland as Niall Horan. And the really funny thing was Niall Horan came up to me, and I was like, well, it's your man out of One Direction, look. And he came over to me and he said, oh, I love your voice. He said, I remember you singing at Mass. I thought, this is great. Niall Horan thinks I'm famous. This is brilliant.
You've made it, Ailish. You can retire now. You've made it.
Louis Walsh was there. So anyways, that was a fantastic night. And the Queen had an awful lot of champagne because she knew the Irish were coming to town, and everyone it was a huge big party, and I got to chat to the Queen all about going to the Wigmore Hall and going to the Glyndebourne and everything. I didn't spit all over her. I'm gutted now. I missed out on that, Hetty.
Oh, God,
you got one up on me there.
Okay, we got a question for you, Ailish, from Thea. How would you advise someone who wants to start developing their singing?
Well, Thea, what age is Thea, do we know?
Not sure. Imagine 12.
So Thea, at 12 is very, very early days. So when I was 11, 12, I kind of started singing a little bit. Now I'm Irish Catholic, so I had a great opportunity where I could go to the church actually and do quite a lot of singing there. And so it's a good idea to join a choir at this stage, and also maybe have some singing lessons, but not with a really hardcore teacher, just with someone who's going to teach a few songs and keep you going. But choirs probably are the way to go. I mean, I was really 25 before I started taking the singing really seriously. So with singers, it's not like instrumentalists. You don't have to practice 8 hours a day from when you were 3. You can come to it at any stage in life, and you can become really good really quickly.
Fantastic. I like to hear that. Perhaps I should start singing. You can become really good really quickly. I'm not sure that's true. Okay. Now we've got another question here from Marina. I saw an opera recently and it was amazing. What is your favourite opera, Hetty?
Oh, that is such a good question. I've got my little friend Benny here. That is such a good question. there are literally too many to choose. I can't, like, they are all amazing in different ways. So I think, because I really like cheesy music, I don't want to offend Puccini, but he is very cheesy. I love anything by him. So La Boheme, you might have heard of. It's quite popular. Tosca, Yanis Kiki is amazing.
It's like you're reading my mind, Hetty. They'd be all my favourites as well.
Oh my God, we're kindred spirits. I also love, although it's quite long, so when I first joined the opera house, the first project I started with is called The Ring Cycle. I don't know whether you've heard of that, but it is, I think it's about 21 hours of music. It's ridiculous. And it's split into 4, so each opera is about 5 hours. I don't know, I'm not very good at maths, as you know. So you have 2 intervals mostly, and it's really, really long, but totally epic. And Wagner wrote it, and it's like, it's amazing on stage. It's so amazing. So even when like hour 5, you're still like, I'm really excited, I'm loving this. And yeah, it's quite amazing. So yeah.
Right, here we are, some more secrets about Hetty. Hetty loves crisps. Her favourite are, you can vote for more than one because she might have more than one favourite. Monster Munch Cheesy What's-Its cheese and onion hula hoops. Now I had to Google how to spell hula hoops because I wasn't sure. Twiglets, salt and vinegar chipsticks or skips. So let's see what the answer is to that. Now I've got a great question here for you, Ailish, which kind of links to something I wanted to talk about. She said, actually I don't know who it's from, they haven't said, but do you have to be a really good actor to be an opera singer? Talk to us a little bit about communicating with your audiences and characterizing.
I really think you probably do have to be a really good actor to be an opera singer. But of course, because they spend so much time teaching you how to sing and how to speak languages, foreign languages, sometimes they don't give you enough time teaching you how to be an actor. Now, I was quite lucky because I'm kind of naturally a little bit of an actress. So I come to it very naturally. So I didn't really need too much training, probably more along the comedy line of things, really. But which isn't much help to me if I'm playing a serious role. But yeah, I think it's really important to be able to communicate. But the most useful tool you have as a communicator, as a singer, is your own intelligence, and tap into that. I often work with young singers, say in masterclass scenarios, and they're kind of a little bit wooden and they're afraid to do things. As an opera singer, you can't be afraid to do things. You can't be afraid to look stupid. So I have to say to them, don't worry if you look stupid, if you think you look stupid. You have to go for it. You have to give it 100%. Because also, it's not like acting really on the television. It's a little bit different. You can be more, you can be larger than life because people are at a greater distance from you. Sometimes you have to communicate with people who are sitting right up in the gods. So more is definitely more when it comes to acting in opera.
Fantastic.
Talking about the ring cycle, I did a Siegfried at Covent Garden, and we had these crazy costumes. We were all dressed up as monsters and all sorts of things. And it was Halloween night, and the show is so long. About 5 of us are actually killed at the beginning of the opera. We all die. We all went to the pub for about 3 hours, but because it was Halloween night, we could all go in our monster costumes. We looked perfectly normal. And then we came back for our bows at the end of it, resurrected from the dead.
Justice, Ailish. I'm there like swooling away 5 hours and you're just on the pub.
I'm sorry. I was also playing poker backstage. Sorry, Hetty.
Right, we got the results in of the crisps poll. Seems to be pretty much cheesy What's-Its are winning, but can you see those results, Hetty? Do you want to tell us what the answer is?
Yeah, so basically I'd eat all of those crisps in a minute. But I think I'd have to go for Monster Munch. I love a cheeky Monster Munch. And also skips. I love a grab bag of skips because they're like air. They're basically 0 calories, so I can have a grab bag. And yeah, give me any. I'll eat them all.
No, me too. Father Christmas always brings. Well, when I was younger, he always used to bring me Monster Munch. So Christmas morning breakfast was the pickled onion Monster Munch.
Oh my God! Can I come to your house for Christmas Day?
Sorry.
Can I come to your house for Christmas Day? That sounds epic.
Yeah, definitely. Great. So moving on. Lots of people want to know what your cat's called, Hetty. And so let's do a little screen share because we've got a pet moment as usual on our screen share. So let's go to our pets. Here they are. Now, here are your kittens, Hetty.
Oh, I'm so in love with them. Okay, so we've got them quite recently, so they're only about 4 months old. And when we first got them, we wanted a boy and a girl, so we called them Benny and Martha. Then, roll on 3 weeks, took them to the vets, and the vet said, actually, Martha is a boy. So we named Martha Benny. So the cute little one who looks like he's smiling at the top, he's Benny, and we call him Little Fatty because he just eats all the time, and he eats Benny's dinner, he eats our dinner, he's just ridiculous. And he got stuck under our bedroom door the other night trying to get in. It was really sad. So yeah, there he is. So there's little Bertie. Oh, they're so cute. They hug when they go to sleep. They're adorable.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, they are.
And who's this?
This is our family tortoise. So when we grew up in Devon, my parents got a tortoise for my little sister, and it was called Aesop. And the cats were terrified of it. We had 4 cats as well and a hamster. It was basically like a zoo. And my sister, jokes. It was a zoo growing up, but yeah, we had lots of fun with that little tortoise.
And whose is this?
Oh, this is my little dog Jack now, and here he is. He's obsessed with bubbles. So we're blowing the bubbles and he's going absolutely mad. He's 8 years old, but look at him. He's in fine fettle.
So that's the pets. That's brilliant. So let's get rid of those. Okay, so another question, especially for you, Hetty. What was it like playing the cello in The Cellist? I saw it and your playing was completely amazing.
Oh, you are so kind. Thank you. It was really scary because all my colleagues were sitting there and they're all amazing, and I was feeling slightly nervous, but at the same time they were so supportive and just lovely, and I could turn to them at any point and they'd give me a little smile, and that was really nice, and I felt them all behind me. It was just the best thing I think I've ever done. I'm so lucky to have done it. Yeah, it was great to play all those pieces as well, like the Elgar Cello Concerto. I got to play Mendelssohn's Song Without Words, which some of you know. Lots Rachmaninoff, lots Fauré, lots of different composers, and yeah, it was brilliant, really, really great. Yeah, the funny thing, when I first got asked to do it, I got a text message from the principal dancer, Lauren Cuthbertson, who's just like super famous and super amazing and lovely, and she just basically said, you need to teach me the opening of the Elgar Cello Concerto, and in return I'll teach you Sugar Plum Fairy. So just you wait, I'll be on that stage Christmas time in a tutu doing all the moves because I've got 2 left feet.
Amazing. Oh, we got another poll. This is about Ailish. Find out some secrets about what chocolate she likes best. So get voting on that. Right, we have a question for Katie, for you, Ailish. Do you remember the very first time you walked into the Royal Opera House, and what did you think?
I do. I remember. So I've had a very, very strange kind of entry into musical life, and when I first... So everyone applied for this young artist program at Covent Garden, and I actually didn't get it first time round. There was 5 people chosen, and I wasn't one of the 5. So I wasn't this is my whole life. I wasn't expecting it to happen, and it just did. I'm very lucky, the luck of the Irish. And then I get this phone call to say that one of the people who was supposed to be doing the program had got something else somewhere else and was going to actually go on and do a career. So I was the first person on the waiting list. So I was so overjoyed and I was so in awe of it. And I remember going in and just thinking, wow. And you do walk in and really, you've just gone, I was at Guildhall before that. And suddenly you go from Guildhall into like the Royal Opera House and everybody's a big star. And you're just like, wow, this is unbelievable. It really was. But I took to it like a duck to water, and they struggle to get rid of me now.
So we have the results in of the poll. It's very close between a toffee crisp and a mint aero. What's the answer here, Ailish?
Oh, yes, you are all brilliant, because it is a toffee crisp, and I'll tell you something, I wouldn't give you a kick on the shin for a dark chocolate bounty, a Topic or a Lion bar. You couldn't have picked worse bars. Now I might eat an mint aero all right if I was desperate, but toffee crisp is the one, guys.
I don't know how they know this, but they seem to get chocolate bars right every time. So,
I mean, who eats Topics? They're dreadful.
Okay, so
And a lion bar, you might as well just be eating cardboard.
Oh no, that's just because I love a lion bar, Ailish.
Do you?
That's where we differ.
Oh no, it's all just wafers, not nearly enough chocolate.
okay, so we've got a great question here. What has been the most embarrassing musical moment in your life? And can I ask you that, Hetty?
Yeah, when I was thinking about it, I have so many, it's unreal. So where do I start? So I've had wardrobe malfunction. So when you apply to get a job, you go on what's called a trial, and that's they invite you in to do a project and you try and be really good and really nice and then hopefully get the job. So when I was on trial, I finished this really, really long opera. I looked down and I could just see my label, and I was wearing my top inside out. It was mortifying. The other thing, I've lost a shoe off the stage. I've been swinging my leg in a concert and my shoe fell off my foot. What else has happened? I was late for a concert, which is just the biggest no-no you could ever do. I think actually Kath was there. We thought it was a 7:30 start and it turned out to be a 7 o'clock. So I had to run down the road. It was awful, and I'm so unfit and I don't do any exercise that I couldn't breathe until last movement of the symphony at the end of the concert. It was I was so exhausted and out of breath. It was awful. So yeah, I could write so many embarrassing moments.
Have you, Ailish, had any embarrassing moments?
Well, I think my worst one was I was at the Royal Opera House in Stockholm and I was doing the role of a young girl who's falling in love with this fella who's coming to try and marry her. So I've got a nanny in the opera and I was on stage. Now, this production had been going on since 1975, the year I was born, 45 years. So the costumes, they had lots and lots of costumes for over the years. And what they used to do is they used to just say, right, which one of these costumes is going to fit you? So I happened to get into the one that was from 1975. That was the one that fitted me perfectly. I remember thinking, this is very old. This material is very, very old. I hope the stitching is good. And then I was on stage and I was doing a big, and the costume burst open. And seemingly, I didn't even realize. I was so busy going, delighted with myself. And my nanny, the woman who was playing my nanny, ran out and put this shawl around me. But seemingly, everything was on show. But luckily enough, it wasn't embarrassing at the time because I didn't even realize it had happened. But that old 45-year-old stitching just wasn't up to the job of my top C's.
Amazing. Oh goodness. So can I just quickly say to you all, we're speeding through and we're running out of time, which is really sad because we could talk forever, but we want to do a really good selfie this time because it's the last one that we're doing for a while and we've got some good things here. So could you guys, we would love to have as many of you as possible in a few minutes to take the selfie with us and send them all to us so we can get a really good collage from our very last webinar of all of you doing fun things in the selfie. So, we've got another poll. The next poll is about Ailish. Ailish's most memorable childhood musical moment was going to see a live performance of Joseph and His Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, Annie, Wizard of Oz, Mary Poppins, My Fair Lady, or Oliver. Okay, so let's see if you can work out what was her most amazing early musical experience. Okay, from Elia, for you, Ailish, is it hard to sing in a wig and a costume?
Oh, it is.
Falling off. That's
it is a liar. And I tell you, wearing the fake nose in that photo you saw, that was actually probably the worst of the lot because, of course, you've got this big, huge, giant extra nose on top of your nose. It's even affecting my talking voice, never mind my singing voice. But it is tricky. And also, say if the weather's like this, it's murder because I once had to do this opera where I was playing the role of a very, very fat man. It really freaked my husband out. I had like this bald wig and everything, and I looked like a man, very good looked like a really short little fat man. But I had a big, big fat suit. So you're dealing with all these extra things, heavy, hot costumes. The wig on your head makes you so hot and all these ruffly things in a costume. So yes, it is tricky, but if you're lucky, you can rehearse with them for a few weeks and then you get used to them and it's not so bad.
So we have the results of your poll. Most people seem to think Mary Poppins, but close behind
I would have liked Mary Poppins. It's Annie. It's a hard knock life for us. That was the one.
It
Annie.
was Annie. Fantastic.
And her red hair. I had red hair myself, so I think I had a connection with Annie.
Okay. Another question for you, actually, for you, Ailish. What language do you prefer to sing in? Do you have a preferred language?
Well, a year ago, I would have said I prefer singing in German, but as the years gone on, I've actually been learning the role of Mimi in La Boheme, which is in Italian. And now I have to say I love singing in Italian. So it might be a bit of a tie between German and Italian. I've done a whole opera in Czech. That was really hard.
Wow.
I've got a question for you, Hetty, from Joshua. What's the wackiest thing that has ever happened in a performance?
Oh, okay. Hands down, the wackiest thing. There's this ballet, which is it's called Two Pigeons. If you get a chance to see it, go and see it, because as you know, I like cheesy music, and it is basically like Disney, but at the Royal Opera House. And it's, the last 2 pages are just really gorgeous, and I don't know the storyline, which is really shocking of me, because you're meant to know the storylines of what's going on the stage. But it's 2 pigeons in the title, so they have to use these 2 live pigeons in the actual performances. So they set them out, and at the end, the idea is that they all fly together, and it's really lovely and romantic, and they sit then. But one performance, one of the pigeons flew into the pit. It ruffled the conductor. Everyone was shrieking and kind of ducking, and we were all really worried it was going to do some kind of poo on us. And then it kind of weaved about, and everyone was like, oh my God, what do we do? Do we carry on playing? And then it just settled on the double bassist music stand and just sat like that for the rest of the ballet. We couldn't believe it. So yeah, that was probably the wackiest thing that's ever happened, a pigeon flying in the pit.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Amazing. So there's a little poll for you here, Hetty. While people are reading that, if Hetty was not a musician, she'd like to be a baker, a potter, a primary school teacher, a trapeze artist, a professional crisp taster, or a teacher for children with special educational needs. So let's see what that comes out with. And I have to say a very special happy birthday to one of our musicians, Carlotta, whose birthday is today. So I don't know, Ailish, could you give her a little happy birthday?
Oh, I'd be delighted. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Carlotta. Happy birthday to you. My neighbours will be signing a petition to have me removed as I sing.
Ailish, what are you doing on the 18th of July? Because I'm ringing you up for a birthday sing-song for myself. That was awesome.
Oh, 18th of July. Okay, Hetty, I'm all yours.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see what people think you would like to be. Hetty, they think you'd like to be a professional crisp taster. Tell us what the answer is.
Do you know what? That is just the best job I've ever heard of. So I think I was going to say I love pottery, and I would do that. I'd love to be a special educational needs teacher. Actually, they're all pretty good things, but hello, a professional crisp taster, that is the one for me. Who knew that I'd want to do that, but I do.
You'll have to fight me for it, Hetty. I think there's only one of those jobs going. I've got my eye on it.
Okay, right, let's get ready for our selfie then, guys. Have you got your props? Have you got your things that we're going to use?
Hello.
So we've got some very special props for our selfie today. Don't know if I can get mine on even. Great, we've all got hats, and we've all got crazy instruments of some sort.
I'm nearly as good at this as I am at the piano.
Okay, so we're going to do a bit of a countdown. 3, 2, 1. Okay, fantastic. I hope we get some really good, fun selfies out of that. Excellent. Thank you so much for bringing all your props and having a go. Now, on a slightly more serious note, just as we go out of the webinar, if you were 12, still 12, what advice, Hetty, would you give yourself if you were 12?
If I was 12, I would say to myself, believe in yourself. That is super, super important. I'd say have loads of fun, because that is what you should do always. And just meet loads of lovely people and have a really lovely time and try and be as happy as possible. That is what I would say.
And what about you, Ailish? What advice would you give to your 12-year-old self?
I would say to everybody out there who's 12 and any age, don't care about what anyone thinks about you. Be yourself, do what you want to do, be true to yourself, and don't worry what anyone else is thinking about you. You are all brilliant, brilliant, brilliant people, and you're all going to grow up to be amazing adults, because most adults in the world are amazing. Just be yourself and don't worry about what everyone else thinks. I don't.
Who'd have thought? Amazing. Great advice. Well, thank you both so much. I can't thank you enough for taking some time out of your day to be with us and to share so much humor and so much fun and so much sincerity and wisdom. So thank you, guys.
It's been fantastic to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
We're delighted. I wish we could see you all and hear you all, but maybe another day we will.
Another time. Fantastic. We look forward to welcoming you back to NCO in some way. I know Hetty, you're going to come and coach for us, of course. So maybe we could do something with you, Ailish, sometime.
Oh,
that would be
a happy birthday masterclass. We can teach you all to sing it like that.
I can't think Carlotta could have had a better birthday present than that. Amazing. Great. Okay, so thank you so much, and we very much hope to see you again at NCO. And to all our NCO kids, this is goodbye for now, but we hope to see most of you on our digital residency that's coming up in July and August. We know that loads and loads of you have signed up, which is fantastic, so we look forward to seeing you all then. And until then, goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.